So in the last class, I think where we stopped was on module, but I expected that a lot of people will find it confusing. Even I wasn't able to, gather some of my thoughts then. So, but with this approach that I want to follow now, where you have okay, let me stop sharing and come in. Yeah, so the file I shared with you, this is how it looks like. So, and the way we're going to be using it is I have some demonstrations planned out and even exercises, and you can also see them from the you have them commented. The instructions you have them commented, and even like a skeleton of the code that is expected of your exercise. It's also given to you. So most of the time, you just need to like on comment. Like for
Oh,
for exercise 3 now, you asked to like do a certain task using the date timestamp. So when I ask you to do that, you just need to like highlight. Or if you want to do it manual one by one, you can start deleting the hash sign and delete the hash symbol and the space like this. You can be doing them like that, but there's a shortcut to what's it called? Uncommenting many lines of code. So once you highlight everything like this, press Control / on your keyboard.
okay.
So, I already have this commented, right? So let me just, I will have to copy, sorry, I'll have to highlight just the ones that are commented and I'll press Control / you see?
Oh, mm,
So it goes removed. So that's how I would expect you to, I wouldn't expect you to just start deleting them one by one.
okay.
Again, if you want to comment it again, just highlight everything you want to comment and press Control / again
Okay.
to be added. If you want to undo it, if you want to remove it, press Control / again, it will remove it. So that's how I expected it to be. So inside the triple quotes, your docstring, comments, you have the instructions, and sometimes when the skeleton of the code is given to you, you have it like this. So you see where it says your solution is here.
That's right.
You'll be required to some codes, write a code there. And
Hmm.
most of the time, I would have demonstrated something similar to you in the demonstration.
Okay.
Yeah. So the exercise will be to test if you actually understand the demonstration that was just made to you. And also for the demonstration, and that's where I will be, showing you things. And if you think it's easier for you to follow along, you can also follow along like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the approach I want us to go. I want us to go by now. And if I see that it works fine, then we'll have to keep going like this.
Nice.
So let me go back to our slide. Yeah, so last week we talked about I believe you know how the input function works now, right? Uh, just so
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
unmute your mic. Okay, all right. So I said one thing to take note is that when you use your input function, the value it returns is always a string value.
Mm.
So you should take note of that. If what you need is an integer, you should know how to do some, a little manipulation so that you can get what you want out of it. But always know that it always return a string value. Then we also got started with module. And I said module is another name. You can just see it as a module as being a Python file. So and Python made it possible for us to use a Python file in another Python file,
Mm.
or to use functions that has been written in another module. Python allows us to do that. And there are like two syntax. There are two ways we can import into our. There are two ways we can import, and the two ways is what you have given here is if the framework you have given here. You can use you can import the module name directly. You can import the module name directly, or you can use the from approach where
Mm-hmm.
you import a module. You said from inside a module, you specify from, then you specify the module name. And after that, you said you import a specific package or a specific function that you want,
Mm-hmm.
or it could even be a variable. Let me, I think okay. So what I just did was actually, I was looking for a way to be able to, have my slide at the same time my code in just one window. So I just thought I just came to these, initially you should not be able to view a PDF file from your Visual Studio Code. But what I did was I came to extension here. I came to the extension tab here and I searched for PDF. Are you
Mm-hmm.
listening to me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I came to the extensions tab and I searched for PDF. I just know whatever PDF extension that they have should be
Mm-hmm.
able to make me read a PDF file. So and when I saw this, I knew this has a symbol of Acrobat. Sorry, Adobe Acrobat or whatever. So I just installed this. Then it also suggested that I should install the second one here. So I did it. I installed it too, and I was able to view a PDF. So this is actually great. So I can just navigate from two tabs to. This is actually great. Yeah. So for people joining late, welcome. Before you join, I said I want to try out another approach, another learning approach, in the sense that I just uploaded a Python file on the Google Classroom, and it has all them. Inside it that is where it is meant to guide the demonstration I'll be doing in the class and to help you follow along. And also it has some exercises. The ones that we're able to do in the class, we'll do them, but the ones we're not able to do in class, you take them as practice exercise in a way that you can submit maybe after the class. But it's not meant to be an assignment. It's meant to just be like an exercise. If time permits, we'll be able to solve them. Or even just don't worry about that. But what I said before you joined was that when you when you're given an exercise, most of the time you see it commented like this. Inside the triple quotes, that's where you see the instructions. You always see the instructions. And for the code, for the what's it called? For the exercises, sometimes you'll be given a framework or a framework of the solution, like you have it here. This is like an exercise that asks you to do something, and a framework has been given to you, so that you just need to like see where you need to add your own. Like in this case, now this one is saying your solution is here. So in this exercise now, this is the only thing you were required to add. Like the only addition you were required to add to the exercise, to the solution of the exercise. So you have to think of what the solution at that point or what is required in that particular line of code. And to uncomment this in bulk, I said I would not expect you to start deleting the hash sign one by one. Just highlight everything. Everything you want to uncomment, highlight it and press Ctrl// on your keyboard. Control and forward slash. So when you press Control and forward slash, it's going to uncomment it all together. If you want to comment it again, make sure you highlight whatever you want to comment and press Ctrl// again. Then it's going to comment. So it's just like the same command is going to do and undo. If I press it now, it's going to uncomment. If I press it again, it's going to comment. So that's just how I expect us to. I was expecting us to work with this file. And if this work fine, if this approach works fine, that means it's what we're going to adopt, and we'll keep working with this approach for subsequent classes. And before that, and also, yeah, in the last class we started with module, and we said a module is a code you can see a module as another Python file, or basically it's just like a code that has been written that we want to reuse. A Python file that has already been written and we want to reuse in another file. So that's what we are a module, and it can be there are like two categories of a module. I think in the last class I demonstrated one for you where I showed us lesson one and where I imported lesson. Yeah, you can see what I did there. This is like a custom module in the sense that I was the one that, I mean, we are the one, I was the one that wanted to use the module. So I had to like create it myself. But sometimes there are some modules that will be written by another developer, like the daytime that we used. It was written by other developers and it came with our Python installation. So that one we call it built-in. Because it came with Python, we call it built-in. The ones that does not come with Python that we had to install by ourselves, we call them third package or custom module like that. Come in. Yeah. Like user-defined module. Like in this case now, the one I did, like lesson 2B, where I imported lesson 2 from here. Yeah, where I imported this particular module, lesson 2.py. So this is like a custom, the user-defined module. But in the case of import this datetime here, this is a built-in module. It comes with Python. So, and of course, either built-in or custom, you use the same command to import them. Like we have here, see import datetime. And when you import it, or you're importing a module, you can use, I don't know why this is not coming in. Okay. So when you import a module, you can use a variable from that module or all the functions that has been written inside that module, which I think I showed us some examples in the last class. But where I felt we probably got lost, most people would get lost was some of the exercises demonstrations I was showing as regards date time. I felt like it was too much. I knew it within myself. So uh, I would do some of them again and I would try to, I would not try to, I would try not to escalate it. Because if I were to talk about it, we have a lot to say about the daytime module, but I'll just try to pick certain demonstrations for us, the ones that I know will be very helpful in most of the time. So we'll be doing that. And yeah, again, we have so many built-in modules. We have the math. I think we also work with math in the last class. Yeah, we work with math in the last class. What's going on? I expect this thing to open in a new. Uh, Okay, well, maybe when we see the video, well, I believe we used the maths class in the maths module in the last class, where I said you can do maths dot, you can find a cosine, you can find cos of a value of a what's it called, of a degree. You can even find the square root, sqrt, math.sqrt, then you put the value inside. A whole lot of functions that you can use from the math module like that. So, but we'll be dwelling, like I said again, we'll be dwelling a little bit on daytime. But for other modules, like we have time it also. We have time it is used to actually check for execution time. Like you can actually you can calculate time it takes for your program to run. So time it is one module that helps with that. We have what we call a regular expression, which I don't know if you've already done it in SQL. Like it's just like a way of manipulating what was it called? Regular expression is one module that helps us to manipulate data. Let me just say it that way. It will even be very helpful for you. It comes in handy for data analysis where you need to do data manipulation and everything. Like this module, you use it a lot. So then we also have the copy module. We have a lot of built-in modules like that. And the way you know how to use a module is to read the documentation of that module. Like to understand how to use datetime now, let's say I've not even used it at all. I've not used it before and I've not mastered some of the functions. If I want to know how to use it, the ideal place to go is to go to the documentation and read it. If the documentation is not clear, then I can now go to YouTube because I believe some people that must have understood the documentation would have made videos about it. So if I can't get it from the documentation, after reading the documentation, if I still can't get it, then I'll go to YouTube and watch videos on how to use it. So that's just how even the like developers in Google, that's how they go about learning about a module. And yeah, so I think we also demonstrated, I showed us some examples of this, but without wasting much of our time, let's just get into some demonstrations. Uh, this time around would, I believe you already know this. I'm coming. Oh, pia, 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 pia. Coming. I'm coming, please. Let me quickly. Okay. So if time permits you can actually write this. So to import, remember I said there are two ways you can import a module in Python. So this is one way, which is import. You just import the module directly. And to use the functions or the variable in that particular module, you start using the dot notation like, I've imported this module now, datetime. So then you can now put a dot. You can now start using dot notation to call the functions or variables in that particular module. Yeah. But most of the time, when people want to use this datetime module, they just do import datetime. You just use import datetime because that's like the okay, let me not say that, but they just import it like this, import datetime. Some people also do it like this from datetime. Let's say you already know that, okay, what I want to use from this module is the datetime package. The datetime package is what I want to use inside this module. I could just say datetime from datetime import datetime. That is inside the datetime module, inside this module, there's a package called datetime, or there's a yeah, let's just say that there's a package. Package is another thing for uh in Python. It's the hierarchy of this thing in Python is actually a bit how do I put it, complex, not so complex like that. But you can see this particular datetime here. You can see this one as a folder and see this one as a Python file. So what I'm basically saying here is from the datetime folder, import the datetime module. Let's take it that way. Yeah. But because right now inside the datetime folder, there are a lot of modules there. There are a lot of modules that we can use there. So I wouldn't want to follow this approach. That is to say from datetime import datetime. Because I know I will have to call some mode, I have to use some modules inside the folder also. So I wouldn't want to go by this, and I'll just say import datetime. And generally, if you're using datetime, if you want to check today's date, if you want to check today's date, what you do is to say, to call the datetime folder, the first one you've imported, and say inside the datetime module, I want to use the now function. So the now function, what the now function does, as you can see here, is it constructs a datetime from time.time and optional time zone info. That's just like some very complex definition. But this is the command that returns you today's date. The time, that returns the time at the time the code is running. As I've written it now, I said date time dot, let me do this. Let me comment this part. I mean, it's still the same thing, right? So let me comment this. So if I run this, you can see it gave me the time, the exact time I run this code, which is 1:32, but it's already 16 here. So the time here is 1:32 currently. It even gave me this is the hour, this is the the minutes, this is the second, and this is the microseconds. So it's giving me everything, the time, that time I run the code, it gives me what the time is at that time, at that period. So if you want to, if you have to write any program that deals with you getting the time, this is the command you use. This is the command you use, datetime.now, after you've imported your datetime module. And we have some other functions that comes in handy in the datetime module. So one is we have one called, sorry, we have one called datetime dot strp time. So it means string pass time. And what it does is it converts uh your dates from string to Python recognized date time data type. So if you are, and it takes two arguments basically. It takes your time in string, or your date in string rather. It takes it in string. In this case, let's say 1995 uh hyphen, or let's use, I think we used hyphen in the last class, so let's use forward slash like this. Say let it be followed by the date 22, then the month 06. So this is the time. These are a particular date that I am specifying, and I want Python to see it as a date time, not just a string at this point. So to do that, you also need to specify the format. The format. And how do you know how to specify the format? This is where this thing comes in. If I don't have this now, if I don't have this, one thing I would have done is to go online and start searching for date time character code. So you can always like maybe make a snapshot of this thing and send it in some way, like have it as an image on your phone till you know actually how to you master some of these things. So, but because I already, I've been writing this thing for some time now. So the format I'm going to tell it is I'm going to say %y to say the first thing in the data I've given to you, the first four characters there is the year, which if we come here is the same thing. It says %y, it says returns the year in 4-digit format. So I'm saying the first 4 digits for format in the string value, where am I? Okay. So I'm saying the first 4 digits in the string format that I've given to you is the year. And what is the demarcator? /, right? So I'll put /. Then what follows is the month in 2 digits. And that's going to be %m. %m. Let's see if I'm right. Returns the month as a number from 01 to 12. Yeah, I'm right. Then for the day, that should be %d, days of the month. So that also say /, then %d, right? %d. And like this, this should actually be my birthday. And I'll say, let me print birthday. Then let me comment today's dates, or let me leave it also. Let today's date also get printed. Does not match. Why? 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 Why?
I think when you were doing it, you put like the string, you put the date before the month, but where you want it to be, you put the month before the date.
It doesn't matter actually.
It
But
doesn't? Okay,
let me do something. Let me change this to hyphen instead of.
okay.
So let me run it. Uh, does not match format. RMD. Okay, let me then read the documentation. Oh, I'm coming. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let me change this to hyphen. Let me run this. Okay, there's not much for now. Let me. Data. Okay. Year followed by month. Oh, sorry. Is that what you've been? Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, please. I think what you said was right. The month is coming before the.
The
No,
date.
this is the date, right? The date is coming before the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry, please. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this should work now. This should work now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So now it has been converted to the string for the string value, the string date has been converted to what's it called? Has been converted to the string datetime recognized data type. And once we have it like that, we can do a lot of things. We can say birth date dot, you can print the day part of it, the day variable part of it, which is going to give you just 22. You can also print when you press dot, every possible variable or functions you can use with it is going to show up. So we see you can even get the date part of it. When we did this, it returns the date time. That is, we have the date and the time part of it. So let me show us again. When we print this, you're going to see it's going to give us the date time, like the full date time. Because the only thing I specified was the year, month, and it was called the year, month, and the day. I didn't specify anything for the hour, minute, and second. So it took those ones to be 0. That's why you have everything. But it returns a whole date and time altogether. So from that, once you have it in the datetime recognized data type, you can now start extracting everything. I think you can also extract the hour. So it's a birthday.hour, then you print, it's going to return 00. Let me hide my floating within control. Yeah, so it's going to return the 0 part of it, because 0th hour, right? If you also want month, you can also do month. You can also call month. And if you run it, it's going to give us 6, which specifies June. So that is that about that. If you want to convert a string a string date to what's it called? Python. This P stands for pass. So it's just like string pass time, just like string converts to time. So that's basically what that one means. And we also have another one that does the opposite. It does the opposite. And another way you can also, before I explain that, another way you can, if you don't want to use this, I said this one converts a date from, what's it called? It converts from string to date, right? To date time. Let's say you also have, this only works when you already have your date coming as a string. But let's say you want to create your own date time yourself. You want to create a date yourself. There's another way you can do that. You have to, whereby you specify it in either even number or string. So you can do this. You can say datetime.date. We're using the date module now, not the, when we did this, it was datetime.datetime. But now I'm saying datetime.date. And inside it, it takes a lot of arguments. Let's over my mouse over it, you see. Okay, just 3 actually. It takes just 3 arguments. Pardon, sorry. It takes just 3 arguments, the year, the month, and the day. And this one is not even going to give us the date time. It's just going to give us the time. It's just going to give us the date. It's just going to give us the date. And that is why you can only specify the year, the month, and the, what's it called? The year, the month, and the day. The day. And once you do that, it automatically, let me comment this. If I say print me the type of my dates, I want to check for the data type. So if I do that and I run, you see it says class datetime.dates. that it is Python it is Python date data time, not even date time now. It is just the date. And with that one, if we want to now convert, if you want to convert a date to, let's say you want to convert a date or a date time object, you want to convert it to a string. There's a function for that. There's a function for that. It's a method rather, not a function rather. It's a method. So it is called string f time. That is string format time. String format time. So one easy way to do it is to just call the date time object or the date object and say .strf time, and you specify the format. That's the only argument it takes. You specify the format of that. You already know this is how your date time. Let me run this. I'm coming. Let me also comment this. Yeah, so this is the date. This is how it comes. You see something, oh, don't mind me. Don't mind me. I already, what am I doing? This is what I wanted to do. Okay. Yeah, so this is how the date is coming. We have the year first, followed by the month and the day. So I want to also convert it to, I don't want to convert it to strings. And to convert it to strings, I said this is the work of strf time method. It's a method that when you apply to a date object, or a date data type value, when you apply it to it, you only need to specify the format in which that date is coming, or the format in which you want it to be outputted rather, which is this particular which is why we have this format here. And this is how the date is initially. We have the year, month, and the day. But now for the format you want, and I said this one converts it to string, right? So how do you want it to be displayed in string? You can also fall back to using these character codes there. Let's say you want it to, I'm coming. Of course, the year is always a number, right? So I'm coming. The year is always a number. So we can we have it here already. So what we are saying here is basically just that we want the year to come last. Initially, this is how the date is. But we are saying here that we want the year, when you want to output it as a string, we want the year to come last, and we want the day first. The day first. And now we're using %b, which is telling us that we want the month. We want it represented in 3 letters. In 3 letters word. Like if it's June now, it should be Jun. If it's July, it should be Jul. If it is February, it should be Feb, stuff like that. And how do I know that? If you come to the character code again, %b, look for %b, returns the first 3 characters of the month name. So that's what this is doing here, this format here. And I can even change this. I can change this to capital uppercase B. And I can say I want the year first, %year, % uppercase B. What does that do? Returns the full name of the month. Yeah, so it's going to return the full name now, not just the short, the first 3 letter words. And I want the day to come last. Or even instead of the day, I want to, let's see if I can get the day of the week. Which character code returns the day of the week? Returns the full name of the weekday. %A. Yeah, let's use %A. Let's use %A for this. And let me save. And if I run this now, you see, 2022 2022 December Saturday. So that 31st falls on a Saturday, and that's why you have it there. If you change it to %D, it's going to return 31. It's going to give you the day of the month, which is going to be 2022, December 31. So this particular command there, what we've just done here is how to convert from a date type of a date from a date value to string. And when you're doing that, you can specify how you want it to be displayed in string using just the the string format time method. It's a method, not a function. It's a method. So that's why we're having to apply it on the object itself. So let's also, I've not tried this before, but let's also see if it's also going to work. If this str is going to work on my birthday. Remember, my birthday is going to be, if I check the type, I believe it should be like it should be a date time. It should be a date time. Yeah. It should be a date time. Let me comment this first. Yeah, so the type is a date time, which is different from, remember these, when we declare this date here, it is a date. It is a date time date class. So, but this one is a date time. So I want to see if the string f time is also, can also work on it. Of course, I expected it to work. So let's see how that, remember it's a method. So we should be calling it on the date time object itself. And if I do, dot str, yeah, it works, strf time. And I specify this. So if I was born on a Saturday. So let me make sure it returns the day of the week, which is %A, right? So %A. So I expected to see 1995, June, Saturday. Yeah. Thursday. Oh, don't mind me. Sorry. I think it was no, it should be a Thursday. It should be a Thursday. It should be a Thursday. So we have a 1995 June and Thursday. So it also works on the daytime. And even aside that, if you also want the what's it called? The seconds part of things. Let's say we want this to be here. If you also want the date time, or how do I put it? If you want the hour and the seconds to also come, I think it also works. Returns the hour, %H, yeah. If you want to do that, you do %H for hour, then you use the colon as demarcator. Then %M, I think %M returns the minutes. Yeah. And let's not return the seconds now. I don't want to return the seconds, but if you want to include the seconds, you just need to put colon also. But I don't want to put a colon and say %S. So let's do this first. If I run this now, you can see it returns the hour, the minutes, and the seconds. So I can remove the seconds part of it. And you have it. So that's how to convert string to datetime recognized value, and how to convert a datetime recognized value to string. And when you're converting it back to string, you have the freedom to specify how you want it to be using the character codes. Is that clear? Any question or any confusion from this? Any question?
Not for me, because it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So let me quickly give us this exercise. Are we ready? Is time going to permit us? Okay, let's just do it together. Let's do it together. We have less than 35 minutes to go. So let's do it together. But there's an exercise 3, right? Okay, awesome. I think you can do the exercise 3 yourself after the class. So the question here says, write a program that issues notifications to drivers about PCN, that is penalty charge notice. It's a policy in the UK. So for £130, if a person pays within 14 days, then the amount will be reduced to £65. So pseudocode example. So there's what we call pseudocode, which is whenever you are given a task or an assignment, a programming problem to do, you don't just jump into writing code. There's what we call an algorithm. You create an algorithm, what we call an algorithm, which is like a step-by-step process on how you want to solve the problem. So this is one approach here now. I mean, this is an example of an algorithm, which is called a pseudocode. And what we have planned out here on how to solve this particular problem is the problem is we should write a program that issues notifications to drivers about PCN, penalty charge notice for £130. If a person pays within 14 days, then the amount will be reduced to 65. That means we need to know what's like the actual date. What's like the actual date of the payment. And we'll have to ask the user for that. So we are saying, okay, let's accept the PCN date as an input from the user. Say enter your due date. Say enter your due date and enter your deadline. Or even it even says, okay, if you are given the due date, the deadline is always 14 days. After 14 days, right? Okay, say it's always after 14 days. Then the amount will be reduced to 65. Okay, so it says as part of our pseudocode, we're going to calculate the deadline date, which is always 14 days from the PCT issue date. And then we can print the message informing the driver about the deadline date so that they only need to pay $65. Okay, it's even a notification. It's not as if we are calculating anything. So how do you think we can go about this? How do we write the code? You can all unmute our mic. Let's all unmute our mic and
Okay.
yeah. So from everything I've explained to us about the daytime mode now, how do you think we can? So what we want to do is we want to ask a user, and that's very straightforward. We're going to ask a user for an input. We'll ask them for their due dates. They know their PCN due date. So they will ask, the issue day rather, the date was issued to them. And after that, that's the only input we are getting. Then after that, we'll be calculating their, what was it called? Their deadline. I'll be notifying them that this is your deadline date. And if you pay within this period, before this time, your PCN charges is going to be reduced to £65. That's just what we want to do. So how do we get started?
In the beginning, I think we should call the datetime function.
Import datetime. Awesome.
Yeah.
Import date time. Yeah. And it's best to actually import datetime just like this because you don't know if you don't know the particular module or functions that you want to use for now. So it makes sense to just input datetime like that. Yeah, then after that, from the pseudocode, accept an input. You ask the user to give them your issue date. So PCN, let's say PCN issued date. And that's going to be
input your input, let's say your issue date.
Enter your PCN
issue date of some
issued dates. Yeah, and after we've gotten that, what next? We need to calculate the deadline.
Yes.
Yeah, so how do we calculate the deadline?
It will be the issue date plus probably 14.
Plus
no,
14.
They say if you pay within 14, so we're going to take 14 hours, our demarcation. If, deadline equal that one plus 14, the PC issue date plus 14.
Somebody else, I don't mind the chorus answer. So let's make this interactive. So plus 14, right?
Yes, plus 14.
Okay. And of course, when you're writing your program, when you do something like that and you're not sure, it's very,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always advisable to print it to see what the output is going to look like at that point.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is very, very wrong, but let me follow your lead. Let me follow your lead. Says, okay, let me comment every other thing before now so that we don't have so let me start again. Yeah. Okay. So it says enter your PCN issue date. I want to say 2025 uh June let me say 06, or we're in July, right? Let me say then let's call it today is, let's say 15.
Today is 15 or 16.
Yeah, let's just put 15. And once we do that, PM, yeah, there's an error. The error is
Okay.
saying can only concatenate string, not integer to string.
Oh, here. Okay. 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 I see. Okay.
Awesome. So now you remember the rule that says uh when you cannot concatenate a string, I mean a string and an integer or and a number.
Yes. I
And
remember that
also
rule. Yeah.
you should also remember that when you use your input function, it always returns a string.
Mm.
So to calculate our deadline, we are required to do some date manipulation. And I think I did an example for us in the last class. So if you want to do date calculation or anything, you have to make sure everything you are adding together or you are subtracting is also in the date data type. It's also in the date recognized data type.
Format. Mm-hmm.
What we want to do is to say we want to add a 14 days duration to
Today.
PCN issued date. But before
Mm-hmm.
that, PCN is already in PCN. I'm coming. I say, remember, PCN issued date will come as a string. This is going to be as a string. And you are
Okay.
expected, if you want to be able to do date time manipulations, you have to convert it to a date time object.
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
Um,
How do you do that from string? How do you convert a date that was given in string? How do you convert it to date time or to a date object?
I think we just did that, right?
Where
Yeah, you call the function to do that.
we want to convert this, we are getting this as a string. I want to convert it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever is entered, we want to convert it to date time, to a date time data type, or to a date data type, anyone. We just did this thing now.
Yeah.
Is that daytime dot strip time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have to do PC time issue date. Yeah, let's overwrite the variable because there's no need for having to create another variable to store it. So I want to overwrite this variable
Okay.
and I want to say date time dot date time dot p time or f time.
Pit.
Mm,
P time converts string past. It means string past time. That is string to time. Format is what does the opposite. It converts from date time object to string. So what we'll be
Okay.
using is p time. And with p
Date.
time, it takes two arguments: the date in string and the format. So let's say
Mm.
we already have the date in string. We don't know what format the user is going to enter the date. And how
mhm.
can we ensure that they enter it in the format that will work with our code?
We got to specify that.
Awesome. So we have to put it in our prompt that enter your
Yes.
PCN issue date
In this format.
in this format. Then we can say YYY
Mm.
hyphen
If you want to do
MM.
capital M, okay,
hyphen-
MM,
It doesn't matter
DDD.
what this thing we are using. Like, this is just a text.
Mm-hmm.
And DD. Yeah. So we already told them that that's the format it is coming from. Now to convert it, we are saying PCN issue date, that is whatever the user enters, convert it to date time object. And in what format? We have to use similar, the format, we know the format it is coming from, that is the first 4 digits should be year. So we're going to
So
say percent
percentage Y,
Y,
capital Y,
hyphen,
Mm-hmm.
and then
hyphen
percentage
M. Is it
M,
lowercase or uppercase?
then that will be lower.
Lower. Then
And then
DD, which is the date in digits, in 2 digits. So that's going to be
D.
percent D. Now we've converted it to a date time object. And now
Mm-hmm.
also, remember, we can, if we do date time plus, let's say we don't even know let's see if this is going to run fine. Of course, it's going to raise an error again. But let's say you don't know, because the reason why I know this is going to raise an error is because I'm experienced and I know what each line of code is going to return me. But for someone that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really know, how you get to know is to just run it, and as you encounter problem, you debug the problem, you solve each of those problems as you write your code. Uh, what's going on? Okay. Enter a date. So I'll say 2025 hyphen month 07 hyphen 16. See, it says it even underlined the line of code that is giving me here. It's saying line 59. What do we have in line 59? This is where we are doing this
The plus
addition.
14. Yeah.
Yeah, saying unsupported operand types plus datetime and integer. That is, you cannot add integer to a datetime. So if you're going to be adding a day, like a duration to your date, remember I did something in the last class. I gave us this example here. This time delta.
Mm-hmm.
Remember in the last class I did an example using this time delta. Maybe you didn't get it right that time, but this is one
Yeah.
very good example to use it. So time delta is basically used to create duration.
Okay.
You know one thing, I've forgotten that we don't use we don't start a variable name with integer
Yeah.
with a number. So let me just say deadline. Let me call it deadline underscore duration equals. So we say date time dot uh time delta. And it takes a lot of arguments. It takes a lot of argument. The first one is the day, the number of days, then followed by hours. You can specify the hour, the minutes, and seconds. But we are only interested in days. So we'll be saying days equals to, I can make it a keyword parameter. I can say days equals to 14.
Okay.
Or because from the documentation, whatever thing you specify for in first as the argument or as the parameter is going to be taken as the days. So I can write it like this: days equals to 14, or I can also say I can just write 14 because this is the first thing, the first argument I'm passing there. So to know that okay, this 14 is for days.
Okay.
So once I do that, I've created a duration in date time recognized as a date time recognized object. So now I can now do whatever manipulation. I can now add it to our PCN issue date. And if we print the deadline date now, you see, let me close this. Let me copy this again. I don't want to start writing all the time. Yeah. So 14 days to 16. What's going to be the next date? That should be around 30, right?
Yeah.
30. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see. That means we should see 2025, 7, 16, then sorry, 2025, 7, 30. You see that?
Yeah,
Mm.
7:30.
7:30. Then it also includes the time. So we can now, if let's say we don't want the time to be part of it, we can just say deadline date dot. There's a date variable that we can use. Just call the date. Remember, you can extract each aspect of your date time object.
Mm.
You can say day, which is going to return just 30, which is going to give us just 30. But now I just want the date part of it, not the date time. So I'll say deadline date dot date. And if I run it again and I put 2025, what's happening? Oh, sorry. I think it's a function actually that returns. Yeah, if I'm right, I think it's a function. Yeah. Or it's a method rather. It's a method that returns. It's a method. And that method is going to return the date part of your date time object. So we can see that. So I mean, we've actually calculated the deadline. What is according to the question, it says we should notify uh the driver. So we can just tell them uh your PCN, right? Let me do this. Let me just do all this, and because that's what the question asks us to do. It is important that you actually follow. This is your PCN penalty charge uh issued on, we can say PCN issued on, let me put a parenthesis there. Or let's even come here and say message. Let's say message. And one other thing I think I've not shown us before is when you want to declare your string, you also have Python also allows us to use triple quotes. I don't think I've explained this before. Python also allows us to use triple double quotes or triple single quotes. You can declare your string inside it like this. And when you do this, this one now allows us freedom to have multi-line string. If you've noticed, every string we've been declaring before now is always in one line. But let's say you want to be able to declare, you want to be able to write a message or a text or a string value that goes beyond just one line. So you put everything in a triple quote, either double or single is allowed, but it should be 3. But in this case, I also want to just let me show you let me quickly show you what I'm saying. It's just like a digression, but I think it's what's showing you. So I can say, let's say I want to write a letter now. Number 14. If I want to write a letter, the address should be on the right-hand side, right? So let me do it this way. Number 14. Lagos, Nigeria. And the next line is going to be, there should be a space. It's going to be Diasa Siama, comma. I hope this message finds you well. Is it finds or find you well? Then I can say yours sincerely, Gideon. I can even put like this thing for signature. Yeah. You see, before now, you can't do something like this. Or let me assign it to a variable, a separate variable, say my letter. Yeah. this is actually not going to come out well formatted. And I'll tell you why. But let me print my letter to see how it comes out. My letter. You can see this. You see how this came out. You see, like the enter like that is the space also showed from everything. So if you want to have a multi-line string, you use triple quotes. I'm not sure if I've explained that before, but I mean you're seeing that now. And it's not just a multi-line. If you also, even for a single quote, you can also do it for a single, for a single line string. You can also do it for that. But I'm just trying to show you that this is another way Python allows us to define our string. So I said I expected this not to come out fine, and it didn't come out. I mean, it is not well formatted. It's not as I've put it here. And the reason being that this space is here, this extra space is here. When I press enter here, all these spaces here from this new line, all these spaces on the left-hand side, everything is accounted for. That is why you can see. So all those spaces are also accounted for. And now to make sure it actually comes out, I mean, it shows up fine. I can just come here. I can do it like this and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Let me just do it that way. Okay. And I can, yeah, I think it should come out fine like this. It should come out. Okay, yeah, you can see now. Number 14, Lagos, Nigeria, Diasama. I hope this message finds you well. Yours sincerely, Gideon. So that's how you create a multi-line string, actually. Like I said, is it like a digression, or what do they call it? So I also want to now use that. I want to use a multi-line distance for my message. I want to use a multi-line distance for my message also. And I would say your PCM penalty issued on here. There's going to be a date here. So we'll be using formats later on. And let me also show you a trick. I believe you all understand, you know how to use format now, right? Everybody knows how to use the format method now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let me also show you another trick. There's a magic character. There's a magic character called %s in a string. It's called %s. So it's also like that's another way you create a placeholder. It's another character, another set of character you use to create a placeholder. If you're going to be using format method, you're going to create your placeholder like this. But with this new approach that I'm showing you, you just put %s. Anywhere you want to put something, you put %s there. So let's use that now. Say your PCM penalty issued on this particular dash, that is a date is going to be there for £130. Then I'll say, but if you pay, or if you are paying, let me say, if you are paying within the next 14 days, that is before the deadline date, right? So I'll put %s again for a placeholder. If you are paying, that is before this also date, then the amount will be reduced to £65. Yeah, so we have that. This is the message that we want to show to them. Now, with this another approach this is another approach that I want to show us, which is used to embed value in a string. So after you've declared your string, you put something like this. After you've enclosed your string value in a quote, or triple quote like this, you put percent, and after that percent, outside the quotes, you put a percentage sign, and you put open and close parentheses. And it is inside this open and close parentheses that you put your placeholders, like in the same order as they are supposed to appear in your string. This one is supposed to be issued date, right? So PCN issued date is going to come first. Then as second, the deadline date. Deadline, no, not the deadline duration, deadline dates. Yeah. Cool. We have that. Then if I should print message now, you see how it comes out. So the due dates the issue date is still 2025 7/16. Now see the message. Your PCN penalty charge notice issued on 2025 7/16. I mean, this is coming from the issue date for £130. But if you are paying within the next 14 days, that is before 2025 7/30, so then the amount will be reduced to 65. You see the message came out fine. So if you don't want to use the format approach, this is one way you can do it. And if you want to do this again, or if you don't want to use 6% S now, you can also say, if you want to use format, you just have to put curly braces as your placeholder. And instead of this percent sign, you say dot format, right? Am I correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Then in the same order as we want the value to be put there. So if I run this now, if I put the date again, what's the issue? Single quotes. What's the error? Why I'm coming? If you're paying within dot format, I'm coming. Oh, or should that be the case? I don't think so. Your Yeah, I don't know why. Why is there an error? Why is there an error? Okay, so I think it was because of I had another this thing here the other time, but I didn't expect I didn't expect it to be the reason why there was an error. So, but yeah, we can see it now, right? It still came out fine using the format approach. And you see that after this 130, there's an enter there, right? The next line, the next statement comes in another line. So because I had used this multi-line string declaration, that is why you see that everything came out exactly as I've declared it. Okay, there's even a mistake here. Yeah, I think I had four quotes here instead of three quotes. Yeah, so this works fine, and that is that about the exercise. Any question? Any question? Hello?
Not really. I think I might have to go like through it one, two, three, four more times for me to grasp it. But
Okay.
yeah, I noticed like uh daytime and strip time and dot format were the main ones that we used a lot in this topic. So it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
it's nice to see the repetition of those ones.
Yeah, all right. So I think I believe this like the example and the exercises that actually gave more insight to how you can use them, how they can be used in your, like in writing your program. So if you go over the video again, you are you able to practice or do some of these things, I believe you will get it properly. So there's another exercise here about that I want us to do that. I mean, I want us to do that. It's not an assignment, but when you solve it, you can just share the screenshots. Like find a way to just share it with me, even if it's just on WhatsApp. You can just drop it on WhatsApp and I'll go through it. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for exercise 3, that is that about that. Then we can move on to we have just 6 minutes. Well, let's see what we can do on for loop. So about for loop, there is a for loop generally. It's not just for loop. For loop is just one way you can do loop. But when you hear about loop in programming, loop is a way to is a way you repeat a block of code, or it allows us to repeat a block of code. And what do we mean by a block of code? Block of code is just some groups of commands. Block of code is something as group of commands or group of codes that you want to repeat. So let's say you are given a task to, let's say you want to write an email. You want to write an email. You want to write an email, or if you, how do I do it? No, let me not use that approach. But let's say you want to print your name multiple times, like 10 times. One way we could have done it is to say, let's say you want to, what name can let me pick Joseph. You want to print Joseph 10 times. One way you could have done, you will have to, you can do it is to say, repeat print statement 10 times.
That's right.
But what if you have to do it 1 million times? That means you have to do copy and paste 1 million times, which doesn't make sense. So, we have a concept called loop, which allows us to repeat a block of code. A block of code. Let's say we also want to print another name called, I want to print my name in this case. We want to repeat Joseph and Gideon 1 million times, or let's say 20 times. You want to have Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon, like 2020, Joseph coming 20 times, Gideon coming 20 times in this same order. That is Joseph Gideon 1, Joseph Gideon 2, Joseph Gideon 3, like that. We have to do Joseph copy and paste like that, which doesn't make sense. So we can see this command that we want repeated. This command that we want repeated, it is what we call the block of code that we want to loop. And how do you now loop it? The syntax, there are two ways you can loop in Python. We have the for loop and we have the while loop. So for this particular session, for loop is what we are meant to actually draw more on. So when we talk about conditional statement, that's when we talk about the while loop, because while loop works well with conditional statements. So to do that, the syntax to use the for loop is to say there's a keyword called for in Python. A keyword that is a word that has a special meaning in Python. It's for. So it's called for. Then you do like you also say this can be anything, but we can say let me call it I. Then you say in range, there's a function called range. And inside that range, you specify the number of times you want to loop.
Okay.
We want to repeat this 20 times, right?
Yeah.
And after that, you put a colon to specify the end of your loop command, the command that your loop command. This is the old loop command. We say for high in range. These spaces are important. You cannot have for high and like this. The spaces, you must have a space between them. So for space I in range.
Maybe times.
Then you put a colon after. Then the next line, you see when I press enter, the cursor has been indented.
Mm-hmm.
It is no longer starting here.
That's right.
And that actually has a remember when I said when we started our session, I said space has meaning in Python. In the beginning of when you're writing like in a line, when you're writing a command in a line, you don't put space before.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to write print now. I can just put if you put a space before and you now say print, it's going to raise an error for you. Because
Mm-hmm.
Python takes space when it is starting a line, it takes it very serious. So now, where you have to put a space now is when you want to define your blocks of code that you want to repeat.
Mm.
Remember, this is the command that does the looping. How do I now
Okay.
specify the block of code I want to repeat? How do I specify them? They must be indented with a tab. If you don't have your cursor already indented like this, if it's starting from the beginning, just press a tab.
Okay.
So most of the time, it's always 4 spaces. So, but automatically, it should do that for you. Once you specify this colon here and you press enter, Python, because our pylance is going to automatically do the indentation for you. And the block of code that you want to repeat must now fall under that indentation. Mm. So everything you want repeated, the block of code that you want repeated is what you're going to have indented like this. So here now you see another command, another print statement here, but this one is not being indented. This one, that is how you know the part that is not going to be repeated. And if I run this now, let me comment all this. If I run this now, you're going to see what the output is going to look like. You see, Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon, Joseph Gideon. If you count it, it's going to be 20. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you count it like that, it's going to be 20. And lastly, you see, this is not under the loop. Our loop is done. This one is not getting printed 20 times because it is out of the indentation. So everything you want repeated is going to be the block of code that will be indented. Now let me explain this. Let me explain this command, this for loop command. Like I said before, range is a function. Range is a function, and you specify it actually takes 3 arguments. But before that, let me not talk about the 3 arguments it takes now. What you specify here is the number of, let me reduce the block of code that I want repeated now. Let me just say, we want to repeat a message. Well, this message, you want to print message 20 times, or let's say 5 times. No, let me put 15 times. So the for loop is let me explain the syntax for us. This for here is how you start your for loop.
Okay.
It is the command, the keyword that specify, okay, we are trying to do a for loop here. This I can be anything. I can change it to number, or I can even say no. It can be anything. It's a variable. We call it iteration variable. It's an iteration variable. So let me do something. Let's see what the value of, let's see what the value of I is. Let me change it back to I. Let's see what that value is, why the code is running. Sorry. Format. Yeah, this is how I could, and nobody corrected me. So, okay. So you see, message. So this is what high holds. And what is actually happening is the number of times you specify here, when you specify 15 here or when you specify 20 here, what happens is the first time the code is going to run, the first loop, I is going to be 0. High is going to be 0. Or let's just even forget what the value of O now. But the first time this for loop is, we want to repeat it 15 times, right? So the first time, I is going to, the first time this thing is running, I think, let me just say, I is going to be 0. We'll come here. After your code, your Python program comes here, comes to this command. Then when it says, okay, high in range of 15, then it's going to print, it's going to perform or execute every block of code that you have under it. Let me also, so that you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so this is how Python executes it. The first time this thing runs, because we want to repeat it 15 times, right? So this block of code runs the first time. Then Python comes back to say, okay, and that first time, I is going to be 0. High is
And
going
the
to,
reason for that being, sorry, the reason is that Python start counting from 0 instead of 1.
Python starts counting from 0. Python starts counting from 0. So that's why you see that when I printed it out, 15 is not
Ending
included.
14. Yeah.
It started from 0, but then everything still prints 15 times. If you have to include the 0, it's going to be 15 also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but Python starts counting from 0. That's why. So the first time this thing runs, this code altogether, the first time it runs, I is going to be equal to 0.
Mm.
And after this, when Python says for high in range of 15, Python is going to count up to 15. And the first time I is going to be 0. So the second time, Python is not, after printing this one the first time, Python will not come out of this place. Will not come out to run this. It will still go back to the for loop to say, I'm counting 0. I'm counting 15, right? And I've only done 1. So it will come back here again, do this same, run everything in this block of code the second time. And that second time, I is going to be 1. So this I, you can see this I as like the counter. Python knows that I am to stop at when high is 14. What I specify here is 15. But Python knows that it is always, this 15 will not be included. It will stop at 14, right? So Python knows that I am to stop at 14. And the first time this thing runs, I is 0. That means I've not reached 14 yet. Then Python will come back, run the block of code again. At that second time, I is going to be updated to 1. The third time, I is going to be updated to 2. The fourth time, I is going to be updated to 3. So that's why you have it like that. The first time, I is 0. Second time, I 1. Then when it's going to the 15th time, I equals to 14, then Python knows that now I am to stop. That's when Python stops and it's going to now run the last block of code. I mean, the last code that is out, the codes or the set of codes that you have outside the indentation. Oh, our time is up. But let me quickly run this again. Okay, let me remove this. Yeah, you see, Python has to count up to 15, including 0, up to 15 before this last command, this last print statement gets executed. So that's basically how, and each time, what's it called? The data type of this I, if you check the data type, it's going to be an integer. So now, as part of the block of codes that I want repeated, I'm saying print the type of I, and also print me message of I like that. Let's see what the output is going to be. So you see it. Yeah, you see. So it's going to print the data type of that of high and the message that follows. So it's actually just repeating this block of code. So, and why did I print out the type? Just to tell you that you can also do some, let's say you want to you don't want to start from zero. You actually want to make sure this thing is it is displaying what's it called from one. Not like internally, Python is still counting from zero, but you want it to start displaying. You want the message to display as 1 to 15. Then you can do addition to. You can just add one to it. You can add one. So I'm saying, the first time high is going to be zero, right? But I don't want it to be zero. So because I've added one to it, so make it one. And if you see the output now, you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Internally, I is still zero. I mean, sorry, I still start. Python still can. I mean, sorry, please. Python still counts from 0 to 14. But because we always adding one to it when it is executing this block of code. So that one still doesn't change the value of I. It is just like when we want to print it out, just add one to it. When you want to output it, it's only adding one when it is printing it out. So there's now one other thing you can do. If you don't want Python to start counting from 0, then you can specify the 3 parameters that are required. Or you can specify the minimum parameter you can pass here is 1, and which is like the stop. The 15 that you see here is stop. Is the stopping where you want Python, the loop to stop. So you can also specify your starting point, which is, in this case, we can have 1, 15. Or no, is it 1, 15? No, not 1. It should be 1. Sorry, it's not comma, it's colon. What's going on? Or is it going to be a comma? I'm coming. I think it's a comma. Yes, it's a comma. Sorry, it's a comma. So 1, 15. I'm saying start counting from 1 and stop at 15. But always remember, most of the time in Python, the concept is that your stop is always -1. It is not always going to include your 15. I'm not adding one to high now. Let's just print this so that we see what I'm saying. Sorry, please, our time is almost, you see? Now it started counting from 1, then stop at 14. So I'm just saying range. The range function just, creates a range. Basically, that's what it does. It creates a range. And looking at the documentation, you can see that we can also specify a step. If you want it to be skipping, just like you do in your, slicing, when you're doing your slicing. Exactly. The same rule applies there. That same logic of your stop is always, whenever you want to stop, you add one to it. Yeah. So if you want to stop at 15, then we have to, if you want to actually start from 1 to 15, you want 15 to be included, then your stop is going to be 16. So now, how many times is this thing going to be repeated? Like this? How many times is it going to be repeated?
15 times?
15 times, exactly. From 1 to 15. 16 is not going to be included, remember. So please, we can stop from here. It's already, we are 10 minutes or 11 minutes above our usual time.
Okay.
So we'll continue from this point on Thursday. And please, you already have the notebook. You have this thing with you. So you can try to read the slide and see whatever preparation you can make towards the next class.
All right.
Or even before that. So thank you so much for your.
All right. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And please don't forget to do exercise 3.
All right.
When is it due again?
It's not an assignment. It's like an exercise. You can, if you do it, I will advise that you do it. So when you do it, you can just drop it on the WhatsApp.
Okay.
On the WhatsApp group. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So have a wonderful evening.